Right, so hello and welcome to this week's angling vlog. This week you join me at one of my favourite times of year. You can see behind me the leaves are falling, calves hitting the ground and the temperatures beginning to drop, and hopefully today we're going to fish the pole for roach. The pool behind me does contain a good head of roach, does also contain some bream and also Mr. Carp. Temperatures around 14 to 15 degrees today. It is well warm enough for Mr. Carp to still be on the feed, so I'm sure he'll make an appearance at some point. But hopefully, feeding the swim with the way we are, we can target those roach and bream and get a few fish on the bank. So what we'll do now is we'll take a look at the setup, the baits we're going to use and the swim we're going to fish. So looking at the side tray, we've got some of the Hinders hemp that I boiled up last night. We've got some pinkies, some red maggots, and then what we've done when we first arrived, I mixed up some of the bag up ground bait from Hinders, and in there I put some of the brown crumb. The plan is to feed the swim little and often with little nuggets of bait like that, and then fish the pole over the top. You can see the pool is full of those leaves, but they are floating at the moment, so they shouldn't be too much of a problem fishing the pole. I was hoping to fish the waggler today, but it'd have been a nightmare with these leaves. So yeah, I'm lining up with that silver birch there, and we're going to be fishing around about 13 metres a pole, just into that slightly deeper water. And session wise, we've got probably about 3-4 hours fishing, just to get a few bites and hopefully that elastic pulling. Just been refining the float a bit, just getting it a bit dotted down, and yeah, it's taken probably 2 times going out there to get the first bite, which is a good sign. An excellent start to the session. When I've been going out there refining the float, just getting it dotted down, I have been putting the odd little nugget of ground bait in and a bit of hemp. So to see a skimmer so early on is a great start. So excellent to get a bite so early on. Just setting the float and getting a bite is a really good sign. Just going to start off fishing with a single red maggot on the hook. And as you can see on screen now, I'm just going to be feeding that little nugget of ground bait each time. You can see in there you've got that hemp and then pinkies as well. So just trying to pick a hole in the leaves, dropping that rig in. Just got a small bit of line between me float and the top of my pole, just so I can keep in contact with the bait as it's falling. My feeding today, I'm trying to keep them fish in them lower layers, by feeding that ground bait and that hemp. So I'm hoping to get the bite as the float settles really. Don't really want the fish to be coming up in the water. There you go. As soon as that float's settled, you can see there the bites come. It's exactly how we want it to work. So the target today is them roach and them skimmers and them proper bream that are in here if we're lucky. But that just lets me know I'm on the right path. If you get in the skimmers, then mum and dad are going to be attracted in as well, aren't they? But yeah, 2 quick bites and just coming on the settle as we want to feed it. The leaves are being a bit of a nightmare, obviously getting out there, but a nice little start to the session. So the beauty of pole fishing is you're laying that rig right over them nuggets of ground bait every time. You know that where you're putting that float in, you're just beginning to build that patch of bait in the lake, where you're going to attract the fish into, and each time you put that little nugget in, it's just building it a bit more. There we go, you can see there, as soon as that float is settled on the bottom, nice little lift bite there, which is just the fish coming off bottom as it's taking the bait. The one thing that you can't really control with this is the size of fish. You've just got to hope by attracting in the fish that them better stamp do take over. It is helping, as you might notice there's leaves everywhere on the water, but it's like a little circle where my float's going in, where there's no leaves. And that's purely just down to the oil off the hemp, I think, which if it keeps doing that will be great, because it is a bit hard getting in and out. But you can see there, getting an excellent reaction to that bait going in. That's another roach. One thing that is noticeable, which is good, that all the activity we're getting is coming as that float's settling. We're not getting any on the drop or any knocks on the way down. So it seems like all them fish that we're trying to catch are in them lower layers in the swim. There we go. Feels like the first slightly better one. And just as a plane's going over is always the way. And for those wondering, the elastic that I'm using today is the blue drenning elastic, nice and soft. So if we hit a carp, then we'll do our best. But it is the elastic I do use when I'm targeting silvers. So that bite just took a little bit longer to come. It was almost as if something, you know, better had moved into the swim, and I was half expecting either a carp or one of those proper bream to have been the next bite. And you don't mind waiting a tiny bit longer if they are that slightly better quality fish. And we must have set up today on the flight path because it's a plane a minute at the moment. So although we are getting plenty of bites, these leaves most definitely are slowing down how quick we can catch. And you see there, the range just started and just beginning to feel like there's one or two better quality ones about. Just take a time. And normally I do hold the fish up for the camera, but for the time of year he looks perfect in amongst all those leaves, doesn't it? And when you say you come out for roach and bream, deep down you know you're hoping for roach, aren't you? That's a lovely roach. And we got the very next cast, there's another one. It's got the jagged feel of a roach. There we go, the leaves in the background. A beautiful autumn roach. And there we go, another beautiful one of those little skimmers. Just coming on the settle and a little rise on the float. And them fish today have been the staple of the session. And I say a pity none of those better bream have fed so far. So for the last hour of the session, just decided to put the pole down and set up the feeder. Just on a small little feeder that you can see on screen now. I've clipped up to where we've been fishing on the pole. So the same distance-ish. So we're in the same vicinity. Just going to go over the top now and just see if waiting on the bottom with double maggot and a still bait, you know, can pick up a better fish. So the third cast with the feeder, and surprising, got one of those skimmers again. And as the session's gone on, the bites have got more and there seems to be more leaves accumulating in my net. But you can see there, fin perfect, quality skimmer. With plenty of feed down there from the pole line. These are coming straight to the feeder almost instantly now. Great end to the session. And isn't that just fishing in a nutshell? As soon as you go on the feeder, to fight in the leaves all day, the winds come on and sent them all down the other end. Who'd be a fisherman, eh? And in a lot of my fishing just lately, I've been making sure I put that extra effort in. You know, sometimes it can be hard to pick up the feeder and do something different, you know, when you're catching. But just lately, been making that extra effort just to do something different. And you can see there, it's been rewarded. Just wrapped round its fin with one of those quality bream that have been there, but just that different presentation has got the bite. And that's a lovely bream, that. And reward, like I say, for changing over. So with the sun out, tell me we're having a mild autumn. Without telling me you're having a mild autumn, I'll go first. It's another nice skimmer, coming steady now on the feeder, and the changeover in this last hour really paying off. What a lovely way to end the session. One of those quality roach that we come for. Really has been enjoyable today. We'll do now, we'll take a look at the final net and see how we've got on. So the session does come to an end there now, and as you can see in the final net, we've had plenty of bites on this short afternoon session. So on reflection, had we fished the pool behind us like it is now, I think we'd have had a few more bites. It was difficult with all those leaves, and had we moved to the feeder sooner, maybe we'd have done a bit better as well. But today's session was just about getting out, getting a few bites, and just some gentle fishing. So if you are enjoying the channel, please leave it a like and subscribe. And all that remains to say is to wish us all tight lines in your own fishing, and I'll catch us all next week. Tight lines.